leonem decimum.
For over 1,500 years, the Purple Throne has never been held by any African. Yet Africa is one of the fastest growing centers of Catholicism. Why has the continent, rich in faith and numbers, been overlooked again? Is it tradition or something deeper? Systemic racism at the highest level of the church?
Well, in other news, there seems to be no consensus on why John Cardinal Njue will not be part of the conclave of 135 cardinals that will select the next pope. Njue, who spoke to the Daily Nation on Monday, was categorical that he had not been invited to the Vatican for the exercise. However, Nairobi Archbishop Philip Anyolo, in a statement, has said Njue was invited but would not take part in the election of the new pope owing to ill health. NTV's senior reporter, Catherine Omwanto, now reports on the conflicting information on Njue's participation at the conclave.
This year, history was made. An American Pope Leo, formerly Cardinal Robert Prevost, was elected as the new spiritual leader of 1.4 billion Catholics. Applause rang across the globe. But in Africa, the mood was missed. For the sixth time in a row, African cardinals were overlooked. Despite record growth in Catholic followers, the highest position remains out of reach.
Could one of these Africans be the next pope? They are from Ghana, Guinea-Conakry, and the DRC, and if elected, could be the first black pope in centuries. Yes, there have been African popes before, but that was more than 1,500 years ago. Some conservatives are rooting for the outspoken Cardinal Robert Sarah, 79, of Guinea. He has held influential positions in the Vatican over 20 years, though he was seen as a parallel authority to Pope Francis more recently. Cardinal Sarah is against abortion and same-sex marriage and has criticized gender ideology as a threat to society and condemned Islamist extremism. Ghana's Cardinal Peter Turkson, 76, is a progressive and a popular speaker who has at least 6 honorary doctorates. Cardinal Turkson was a close advisor of Pope Francis, sometimes representing him in public events, and has been vocal on the climate crisis, poverty and social justice, and his views on LGBT issues have become more moderate. Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo, 65, the Archbishop of Kinshasa, is also a contender for the next pope. He's the de facto leader of the Catholic Church in Africa. As the president of the Symposium of Episcopal Conferences of Africa and Madagascar, or SECAM, Cardinal Ambongo opposes blessing homosexual couples in the church. Could Cardinal Turkson or Ambongo or Sarah be the next Holy Father? Who's your money on?
Africa is not just a Catholic continent. It is the future of the church. Nearly 20% of the world's Catholics live here. The continent boasts the largest seminary in the world, located in Nigeria, and vocations are booming while Europe's numbers decline. Yet in the 2025 conclave, only 17 out of 133 voting cardinals were from Africa, just 13%. Meanwhile, Europe held nearly 40% of the seats, despite having a similar or even smaller Catholic population.
Because what is important, according to me, doesn't matter where he comes from, whether he's maybe there are some who are disappointed, they were waiting for an African pope. Doesn't matter where he comes from. Our church is universal, right, wherever he comes from, but we want a shepherd who is having the heart of Christ, who is able to discern like Christ himself. Those are the novelties that we want to see.
The last time an African held the papal throne, Pope Jerusalem I, in 492 AD, over 1,500 years ago. Since then, popes have been almost exclusively European. Experts say the college of cardinals and Vatican hierarchy still reflect centuries of European dominance. Language, culture, and even politics play a role in who gets chosen. It is not about being an African. It is about the readiness of the church to see leadership through a different lens.
So the good of the church is a primordial consideration, not where the individual comes from, not whether he speaks this language or the other. And that's the marvelous thing that has been lived in this conclave once more. And we celebrate it because it's a total surprise. A total surprise for all of us to get.
So, is it racism or is it just tradition? Maybe both. The selection process is secretive, and bias, conscious or not, may influence force, geography, language, and even assumptions about African theology and governance are often cited. Some argue that the church is not yet ready for a black pope because of cultural resistance within the Vatican hierarchy. Others say change must be demanded from the ground up.
In an exclusive interview with the Daily Nation, His Eminence John Cardinal Njue claimed that he was not invited to the Vatican to be part of the conclave tasked with selecting the next pope. In that interview, Njue was sure to state that he was in good health. Njue is the only Kenyan cardinal eligible to sit in the conclave. Having been born in 1946, he is 79 years old and therefore falls within the criteria of being part of the assembly, which does not accept cardinals older than 80 to vote for the new pope. However, as soon as the story was out, the Catholic Church of Kenya came out quick to clarify the situation. According to Archbishop Philip Anyolo, Njue was indeed invited to the Vatican despite him claiming he wasn't. In a statement sent to newsrooms, Anyolo said Njue was officially invited through the Apostolic Nuncio in concurrence with the Office of the Archbishop of Nairobi. However, Cardinal Njue cannot attend the conclave due to his ailing health. Earlier last month, during an interview with NTV, Archbishop Martin Kivuva mentioned Njue's ill health in passing.
Kardinali wetu yupo, lakini kulingana na umri wake na uzee wake na labda sijui. Lakini kwa sasa tuna kardinali aliyestaafu kama askofu mkuu, na kama anakwenda wataitwa kushiriki. Lakini pia lazima mtu awe na afya nzuri walau. Sisemi ana mbaya, lakini uzee na nini miaka yaenda.
However, Njue claims to be in good health despite these assertions on his physical and mental condition. Cardinal Njue was in the conclave that selected the late Pope Francis in 2013. All of the 133 cardinals expected to take part in the conclave have arrived at the Vatican as they prepare to elect a new pope that will take over from the late Francis, who died at the age of 88 last month.
Meet the man who could have been Pope, Cardinal Vidoremi Obago, Archbishop of Kinshasa, is known for his bold voice on justice and poverty. Cardinal Peter Turkson of Ghana, a seasoned Vatican insider, has long been seen as a top contender. Both are global voices of moral clarity, but time and again they have been passed over. With Africa's Catholic population projected to surpass Europe's within a decade, can the Vatican afford to ignore its own future? The Church preaches universality, but representation must match reality. If Catholicism is truly global, His leadership must reflect that truth. The next pope may not be African, but the time to break the silence is now, because faith has no color, and the throne of Peter should never be bound by race. This is Stephen, GC News.